A strange person suddenly appeared by my side. She claimed to be my cousin, named Chihua, and said her parents had both passed away, so she came to seek refuge with my family, bringing her fortune with her. She brought our whole family from the small village into the prefecture city. Dad and Mom were overjoyed, treating her as an honored guest in our home. But I clearly remember, our family never had a relative named Chua. This cousin had clearly appeared out of thin air at our doorstep. Chihua brought our whole family into the prefecture city, rented a small courtyard, and even helped Dad and Mom rent a small shop for them to run a little business. The whole family was overjoyed, deeply grateful to her. Except for me. I firmly believed Chihua came to our home with ill intentions. The storyteller's tales said that before spirits and demons harm people, they always offer some sweetness first. Dad, Mom, and my brothers and sisters were blinded by the sweetness Chihua offered. I warned them again and again not to trust Chihua, but only got scolded and beaten in return. I, Zhao Sanni, am irreconcilable enemies with this demon. But in truth, there wasn't much I could do. Chihua's daily pastime was tormenting me. When I swept the floor, she would always throw a bunch of random junk around. When I did embroidery, she would mock and ridicule my embroidery frame. When I cooked, she would nitpick at the stove, finding fault with everything. Every time I got so mad, I stomped my feet. What awaited me was either Dad's slap or Mom's scolding. I hate this. Yet none of those Taoist priests under the overpass were reliable. I hired 3 of them in a row to come investigate my home, and they all told me there was nothing wrong. These Taoist priests are utterly useless. That was my secret savings I'd been stashing away for so long. Chihua smiled smugly, standing behind the Taoist priest, and silently mouthing, "So useless," at me. Provocation. This is blatant provocation. When I was sweeping the yard as usual, Chihua threw a handful of sunflower seed shells in front of me. I took a deep breath and barely managed to calm myself down when a sunflower seed shell hit me right between the eyebrows. I just couldn't hold back my anger anymore, rushed up to Chihua and glared at her. Chihua sat on the lounge chair, one hand propping up her face, the other pinching my cheek. Little Sanner, at such a young age, don't have such a big temper. Suffering losses is a blessing, you know. I slapped her hand away expressionlessly. Before I could calm myself down, Dad's palm leaf fan-sized hand had already smacked the back of my head. "You damn girl, your cousin brought our whole family to the city to live like gods, and she is just messing around with you. How dare you give her attitude?" Dad kept apologizing to Chihua with a smile, and pressed my head down to make me apologize to Chihua. I stiffened my neck and refused. Mother stood under the corridor, her face full of disapproval. Zhao Cheng and my sisters pointed at me, their giggling, making me both embarrassed and furious. My eyes misted over, my nails nearly digging into my palms. Besides anger, there was also despair. My family had all been bewitched by this demon. I was alone and powerless. Was I going to serve this demon for the rest of my life? Seeing that I still hadn't moved, Father looked around, grabbed the broom, and was about to beat me. I crouched down, covering my head, only able to hear Chihua's languid voice. "Why must Uncle beat the child in front of me? There are clearly capable people in this household. Yet every time you insist on ordering around Sanni, who can't do anything. I suppose I've overstayed my welcome, and Uncle is finding ways to drive me out." I glared at Chihua with resentment, thinking how strange this person was. Always getting me beaten, yet playing the good person whenever Father hit me. Chihua didn't look at me, just adjusted her hem and lifted her foot to leave. Father and Mother couldn't be bothered to beat me anymore, and chased after Chihua to stop her, rubbing their hands and putting on apologetic smiles in front of her. "Chihua, Uncle would never look down on you no matter who else he might. Sanni is used to doing housework at home, so much better than her brothers and sisters. That is why we let her handle all the chores." Seeing the expression on Chihua's face, growing increasingly unpleasant, Mother hurriedly pulled Father behind her and put on an apologetic smile toward Chihua. "Chihua, whoever you think does the job to your liking, the work will be given to them from now on. Our whole family only lives such good days because of you, so naturally you have the final say in this household." Chihua said nothing, just raised her hand and listlessly examined her own fingers. Mother steeled herself, yanked over Zhao Cheng, who was watching the commotion, and lowered her eyes, not daring to let Chihua see the unwillingness and resentment in them. You've praised Cheng'er before for being quick and efficient, so from now on the cleaning chores will be given to Cheng'er. Before Chua could even react, Zhao Cheng started yelling indignantly first. I am supposed to be studying for the imperial exams. Sanni has always been the one doing these chores. How could she possibly not do them well? Cousin, you've always looked down on Sanni, but you can't drag me down with her. Chihua let out a cold laugh, lifted her feet, and walked toward the door. Father and Mother hurried to block Chihua. Under Chihua's mocking gaze, Mother hardened her heart and smacked Zhao Cheng on the back of his head, scolding. If your cousin tells you to work, you work. If it weren't for your cousin, you'd still be a farmer. It is just sweeping the floor. How could that possibly delay your studies? Zhao Cheng shuddered, suddenly coming to his senses, and put on an apologetic smile toward Chihua. Cousin, I was wrong in my thinking. I made you angry. Please don't blame me. I'll clean the house from now on. Mother glared at me with resentment. What about Sanni then? Just let her freeload. Chihua scanned me with malicious intent. Doesn't she hate studying the most? Let her go study together with Zhao Cheng. I looked up at Chihua in disbelief, my heart pounding nonstop because of Chihua's words. Yet, I couldn't see Chihua's expression clearly through my tear-blurred eyes. Mother and Zhao Cheng were like bristling hedgehogs, glaring fiercely at me, Mother rubbing her hands while looking at Chihua. She is just a worthless girl. How is she worthy of studying? Zhao Cheng yelled. Women have always only read lessons for women and admonitions for women. What kind of propriety is it to let her study? The smile on Chihua's face turned cold. This old lady wants to torture her with studying. It is this old lady's money being spent. What is it to you? Dare to run your mouth again, and you won't need to study anymore. Zhao Cheng tugged at Mother's sleeve, stomping his feet in anger. Mother, I don't want to study together with Sanni. Her clothes are all patches. I'd be laughed to death. Mother held Zhao Cheng and coaxed him, while still finding time to viciously glance at me. All right, all right. All right, if you say no, then no. Mother won't let you be laughed at. Father and Mother didn't dare to compete with Chihua either, so in the end I still went to study together with Zhao Cheng. Before leaving, Chihua kept frowning at the old clothes I was wearing. No patches, but so long they dragged on the ground. Then grabbed me and headed to her room. While Chihua was changing me into fitting student clothes, she fiercely said to me, Don't think I am sending you to school to have a good time. You must firmly remember everything the teacher says, and you must rank at the top in exams. Otherwise, when you come back, I'll smack your palms. I followed Chihua's gaze to the ruler with holes in it beside her, my whole body trembling, and the gratitude that had just risen quickly sank back down. So she really was sending me to school just to torment me. Because of the ruler's intimidation, I didn't even notice the clothes Chihua had changed me into. Once we were out the door, Zhao Cheng's face was completely transformed with envy, and he said to me sourly, Cousin Chua really does dote on you. Not only does she not make you work, she even made such beautiful new clothes for you, a little girl. Only then did I carefully examine the clothes on me. Brand new fabric. No patches, wearing it felt like a cloud. It was countless times better than the stiff, heavily patched hand-me-downs from my eldest and second sister that I used to have to wear. Zhao Cheng didn't wait for my answer. Seeing me carefully smoothing out the wrinkles on my clothes, he shoved me indignantly. Damn girl, Chihua let you come to study and you actually dared to come. Do you know how much silver it costs to study? Mother said all that silver should have been mine. The more Zhao Cheng spoke, the angrier he got. He shoved me hard again, pushing me to the ground, and looked down at me from above. You are spending all my silver. You'd better remember to pay me back tenfold later. Otherwise, I'll make you pay. I looked at the mud stains on my new clothes that wouldn't brush off, and my expression darkened. Zhao Cheng was still yapping nonstop. I threw a punch, and 2 streams of blood gushed straight out of Zhao Cheng's nose. He covered his nose, stunned for a moment before yelling at me, Zhao Sanni, Have you lost your mind? How dare you hit me? He swung his fists at me, but I tripped him, and he fell to the ground. Zhao Cheng had been so spoiled by our parents that he never lifted a finger and couldn't tell one grain from another. In a real fight, how could he compare to me, someone who used to carry firewood down from North Mountain all the time? I straddled Zhao Cheng and swung my fists left and right. At home you bully me, and with father and mother backing you up, I put up with it. But you still dare to bully me outside. You must be blind. At first, Zhao Cheng still had the strength to yell back. Zhao Sanni, how dare you hit me? Just wait till I tell Dad and Mom, they'll whip you. I hit even harder. Go ahead, we siblings have plenty of time alone together. However many times they hit me, I'll pay you back double. While hitting him, I suddenly spotted Chihua's figure at the street corner. I shuddered all over, suddenly remembering Chihua's warning about hitting my palms if I didn't study well. I hurriedly grabbed my book bag and ran toward the school, not forgetting to throw harsh words at Zhao Cheng. I'll let you off today, but I mean what I say. Try me if you don't believe it. Studying is something that brings both pain and joy. The joy comes from gaining understanding through studying. I learned that many things Dad and Mom told me in the past were wrong, like how Zhao Cheng is the hope of the Zhao family, the pillar of the household, and only when he does well will our whole family prosper. It is all lies. Zhao Cheng's studies aren't even as good as mine. What is more, because my schooling cost a lot of money, Zhao Cheng's allowance was reduced. He sees me as his enemy. If Zhao Cheng ever makes it big, he definitely won't let me have an easy time. The pain is simple. Chihua hits palms way too hard. Although I like studying and used to secretly crouch beneath windows to listen to the teacher's lessons, there are many outstanding students among my classmates. Even giving 120% effort, I can only barely keep myself from falling behind the others. As for Zhao Cheng, he was always slacking off. So naturally, he couldn't compare to me at all. Chihua didn't care about any of that. As long as I couldn't answer her questions, what awaited me was a smack on the palm. Strangely enough, Chihua had a very gentle face, yet when she hit someone's palm, she was terrifying. This world devours people, and especially loves devouring women. If you don't work hard yourself, no one will come to save you. The ruler fell on my palm, and my hand immediately swelled up red, burning with pain, but I couldn't bother crying out and hurriedly pressed on with my questions. Why does this world love devouring women? Can studying save me? Chihua's expression was a bit strange, as if sad yet also nostalgic. Studying only helps you understand reason. This world has two different sets of expectations for men and women. If you grow according to the expectations set for women, you'll end up being devoured clean. But I still liked having Chihua check my schoolwork. She would dress me up as her little servant boy, take me to the farmlands, point at the hard-working farmers, and whisper softly in my ear. Look at those farmers, what do you see? The teacher had taught this before, so I immediately felt confident, reciting bookishly while swaying my head, sowing in spring and harvesting in autumn. We can eat our fill all thanks to the hard-working farmers. Every bowl of porridge and rice should remind us how hard it is to come by. Chihua didn't hesitate to give me a flick on the forehead. Wrong. Then what should it be? Chihua's voice dropped even lower. Every emperor throughout history has claimed to value agriculture, but if they truly valued it, they should have found ways to make life better for the farmers. Chihua gestured for me to look at the bony spines of those farmers. But look, the high officials and nobles who don't do any real work have big pot bellies, while they toil their whole lives yet are nothing but skin and bones. And when it is time to collect taxes, they might even have to sell their children. Chihua grew angrier as she spoke, but soon deflated like a punctured ball, letting out a heavy sigh. Xiao Sanner, remember this. Don't look at what people say. Look at what they do. Many people are fooled their whole lives by high-sounding words, never waking up even until death. That is truly terrifying. I nodded blankly. But I don't understand. The books of sages say a gentleman should match his words with his actions. His Majesty and the officials have all studied the sages' teachings extensively, so why don't they practice what they preach? The books of sages are just tools to help them gain benefits. What His Majesty and the officials have learned is how to manipulate people's hearts. Seeing that I was still confused, Chihua poked my forehead. Your dad and mom always praise you for being capable. Does that make you happy? Of course. But you are the only one in your whole family working yourself to the bone. I got so angry my face turned red and my neck swelled. You are talking nonsense. Dad and mom work hard too to feed us. Chihua crossed her arms and sneered coldly. I am talking nonsense. Your dad goes out every day to drink and gamble, and your mom just needs to watch you work every day to be satisfied. Chihua circled around me, sizing me up. Zhao Cheng uses studying as an excuse every day while messing around with trivial nonsense. Zhao Dani and Zhao Ernie only need to do some embroidery and sip tea every day. But what about you? Since I came to your house, how many ways have I used to make you understand? Every time I threw a tantrum, who was the one that got scolded? Was I really targeting you every single time? With every sentence, Chihua spoke. My face grew a shade paler. That is right. Chihua wasn't only targeting me back then. Chihua complained that Zhao Cheng didn't sweep clean enough, so this chore ended up falling on me. Chihua complained that eldest sister's cooking tasted awful, so this chore ended up falling on me. Chihua complained that second sister's embroidery looked ugly, so this chore also ended up falling on me. In the end, I became the servant for the whole family, and my parents would still look down on me occasionally. On the contrary, it was Chihua who would always nitpick in every way right when I started working. Although I got scolded, I got out of doing the chores and could still go to school to study. Some people, even after hearing the truth, still live their whole lives in a muddle. But Xiao Sanner, I don't want you to live in confusion too. Living in such false love is just too pitiful. You have to accept that some people are simply born unloved. But you have to love yourself, not by loving yourself with fine clothes and fancy food, but by loving yourself with knowledge, with a strong body. As long as you love yourself, other people's love is just icing on the cake, something you can take or leave. Because no matter what you want, you can get it on your own. Only when you truly understand this will you live freely. That day, I cried my eyes out, but I wasn't that sad. It seemed like deep down I understood that my parents didn't love me that much, or maybe didn't love me at all. But that day, I still got a smack on the hand. The reason for the punishment was that I only knew how to study by rote without applying what I learned. But I suspect I got that smack just because I cried all over Chua's new clothes. Chua always used a different ruler to hit me. The one with holes drilled in it, the one that could beat someone bloody with a single strike. She had never used that one. I once asked her about it out of curiosity. She said leisurely that it was saved for when I made a big mistake, specifically for beating me, guaranteed to make me learn my lesson with just one strike. The warm filter shattered to pieces, and I left in a huff, but after stepping out the door, I still couldn't help looking back at Chihua. The sunset light made her look like a Buddha statue that people carry out for worship during festivals. Yet she had more earthly warmth than any Buddha statue. I think, even if Chihua is a spirit, she must be a good spirit who is about to become an immortal. Otherwise, how could she bring me such heavenly days? Since she arrived, although she openly makes things difficult for me at every turn, I no longer have to be responsible for all the household chores. Washing clothes, cooking, sweeping the yard. None of it needs me anymore. I only need to study, even though father, mother, and my older brothers and sisters often resent it. They're held back by Chihua and don't dare make me do anything. These good days were brought to me by Chihua. I understand it all. I secretly made a clay figurine of Chihua and enshrined it in a hidden place, burning 3 sticks of incense daily, hoping that as a good demon she'll receive good karma, ascend to immortality soon, and no longer have to be entangled with a family like mine. These heavenly days had only lasted a year. One day, I came home carrying my book bag, only to be pulled aside by Mother to have makeup applied on my face. I was changed into clothes that looked bright and pretty, but actually had rough stitching, obviously shoddily made at first glance. Mother kept scrutinizing my face. This past year I was only busy with big Nie and second niece marriages. I didn't notice you've grown so pretty too. I could roughly guess her purpose, but I still asked, Mother, What are you trying to do? Mother smiled and gave me a reproachful glance. You are a big girl of 14 now. Naturally, it is time to find you a match. Mother, I still want to study. I don't want to get married. Mother's expression suddenly turned cold. When men come of age, they marry. When women come of age, they wed. This is a principle passed down since ancient times. If you won't marry, do you expect the family to keep supporting you? I furiously tore at the clothes on my body. The money I earn copying books for others is enough to support myself. My tuition was paid by cousin Chihua when cousin wasn't here. I was the one doing all the work inside and outside the house. Yet my food and clothes were the worst in the family. What has this family ever provided for me? Mother's slap knocked my face to the side. We gave birth to you and raised you, only to raise an enemy. It is all Chua's fault for sending you to study, making your heart run wild. Whether you are willing or not today, you are going to that matchmaking meeting. I threw down that gaudy outfit, changed into my usual green robe, and tried to rush past Mother to get out. Cousin won't let you do this. Mother let out a light scoff. You still think Chihua can be your backer. Your father tricked her into believing there is trouble with the family business. She won't be home this whole month. No one can help you. I felt as if I'd plunged into an icy abyss, frozen in place, unable to move. Mother stepped past me and locked the door. Her voice seemed to come from the edge of the sky, yet also like thunder exploding right beside my ears. You'd better behave at the matchmaking. That Squire Wang may be a bit older, but he knows how to dote on a woman. After you marry, help your brother out more, and you'll still have a place in this family. Otherwise, I'll pretend I never gave birth to a daughter like you. Mother really doesn't understand me at all. In the past, she devoted all her attention to Zhao Cheng, occasionally sparing some motherly affection for my eldest sister and second sister. I was never in her eyes. Ever since Cui Hua sent me to school, Mother rolled her eyes even higher every time she saw me, so she couldn't possibly imagine that there was a dog hole in this room for me to escape through. After I watched her disregard my eldest and second sister's happiness to help Zhao Cheng climb up and gain connections, marrying them off to the wrong men, I had already started being on guard against father and mother. Over this past year, I dug dog holes in hidden spots around the house, just in case I'd need them. Clearly, I didn't understand Mother well enough either. When I crawled out of the dog hole with disheveled hair and a dirty face, Mother was wielding a stick in her hand and whacked me right on the back of my head. By the time I woke up again, I had already been trussed up tight and locked in the firewood shed. Mother's eyes and brows were full of smugness. A little sparrow dares to cause trouble right under an old cat's nose. What a wrong idea. My limbs were weak, and I had no idea how long I'd been tied up. I just felt pain all over my body, and my throat was parched and sore. But if I don't ask certain things, I won't die in peace. Mother, sometimes I really wonder if I am the child of your enemy. What nonsense are you saying? Then why, among the 4 children in the family, do you treat me the worst? Bullshit. I fed you and raised you this big, and now you've turned into an ingrate. Is having food and drink enough to raise a child? Among the 4 siblings at home, Zhao Cheng is the son. You and father have always doted on him the most, hoping he'll carry on the family legacy. Big sister and second sister also have your favor. They don't have to do anything, only me. I suddenly raised my head, wanting to pour out all the grievances of these 10+ years. In this family, I care about you the most. I gradually took over the housework when I was 4 or 5. But why? Why have you and father never shown me any affection? Instead, ordering me around like a servant, bossing me around, hitting and scolding me at the slightest thing. I am your daughter too. I stared fixedly at Mother's face, not wanting to miss a single expression on her face. Mother just sighed softly, with a matter-of-fact look. Who told you to care about me the most? Back then, I just had to pound my back and waist in front of you, and you'd rush to take over all the housework. Mother looked confused, asking me in a very puzzled tone. Why did you change after Chua came? If you hadn't changed, Mother definitely wouldn't treat you like this. I suddenly burst out laughing, the laughter growing louder and louder, mixed with a somewhat choked-up voice. Probably because I don't want to become the next you. What did you say? I looked up at Mother, speaking to her word by word. I said, I don't want to become the next you. Mother, where is Father? You've sold 2 daughters, and now you are about to sell the 3rd. Why are you the only one coming forward to play the villain? That is right. Father has always been good at playing deaf and dumb. As long as he doesn't show up, the only person we hate is you. But Mother, why are you willing to be Father's vanguard? You are also a woman, yet you push your daughters into the same pit of fire you've been through. You married Father for Uncle's bride price. Has Uncle ever been good to you? Why, when you've already been deceived once, do you turn around and use this same reasoning to deceive your own daughters? Can't understand what crazy nonsense you are spouting. Shouldn't have listened to Chihua and sent you to school. It has made your heart go wild. Mother slapped me across the face, quickly walked out of the woodshed, her retreating figure looking somewhat like fleeing in defeat no matter how you looked at it. As I said, Mother really doesn't understand me well enough, nor does she understand Chihua well enough. She and Father see me as goods, and see Chihua as a money bag. Goods and money bags are all dead things, not worth spending any effort to understand. So they wouldn't understand that Chihua would never be tricked out by their absurd excuse of busyness, and abandon me. So they wouldn't know that over the past year, besides studying, I also had to practice horse stance, lift millstones, and trained a body full of muscles. Now I could beat 10 Zhao Chengs without breaking a sweat. Chihua and I knew long ago what they wanted to do. This is the graduation exam Chihua left for me. The time limit is quite tight too. I was mentally reviewing whether I'd said everything I wanted to say, when I suddenly remembered the way Chua held up that ruler with holes in it, wearing a half smile. I shivered, and my movements to untie the ropes quickened. Chihua and I had already obtained travel permits, just waiting for me to meet up. Then we could take a boat south to start a new life. Before that, I need to find the clay figurine I made of Chihua first. It has been offered lots of incense, you know. Once we move to a new place, I can worship it openly. I stood in front of the woodshed, threw down the torch without hesitation, hiding in the dark watching the flames rise. This is my rebirth. It is only fitting that such a fire illuminates my future. I was wrong. I shouldn't have lit that fire. I thought this while vomiting my guts out on the boat. I should have thought of it. Fire overcomes water. I lay sprawled over the ship's railing, pounding the deck in frustration. Chihua was so amused she couldn't help herself, reaching out to poke my forehead. At such a young age, how did you come to believe so firmly in all this? The seasickness was too intense, not even giving me a chance to argue back. Even in my daze, I was still thinking about it. How could I not believe if Chua hadn't appeared at my doorstep like a celestial being? I definitely wouldn't be living such a carefree life. Chihua brought over a bowl of sour plum soup and fed it to me. Have you thought it through? You really want to go to Lingnan. Lingnan has lots of miasma, the climate is humid and hot, and the snakes, bugs, rats, and ants are many and huge. You'll definitely cry from fright when you see them. After drinking the sour plum soup, I felt much better, filled with anticipation and longing. Yes, I want to see for myself what is so special about the lychees from a single rider raises red dust, the concubine smiles. No one knows it is lychees arriving. No regrets, no regrets. Chihua waved her palm and forearm in front of my eyes. The flying cockroaches there are bigger than my hand, and the snakes are thicker than my arm. You really aren't scared. You don't seem to want me to go to Lingnan. I looked at Chihua in alarm and asked her in a tiny voice, Did you divine something? Could it be that something bad will happen if we go to Lingnan? Chihua slapped the back of my head. You think I am one of those fortune-telling charlatans under the overpass, divine by finger pinching. The only thing I should be pinching is you. Chihua was a woman of her word. She immediately reached out and pinched the soft flesh at my waist first rate, at refreshing the mind and clearing the head. Chihua, how about we think about what business we should do when we get to Lingnan? I cupped my hands toward Chihua, begging for mercy. Chihua gave a light himph and let go. As long as you are not selling tofu, you can do whatever you want. I rubbed the pinched spot on my waist while grimacing, secretly pondering. Maybe Chua was a bean spirit. That would explain everything. A bean spirit wouldn't have the heart to harm her own kind, and wouldn't like Lingnan's humid heat either. Looks like I need to research a new destination, and also make a statue of Chihua's true form. The clay statue I made of Chihua was discovered. Chihua grabbed my ear, absolutely furious. I was furious too. Why does the school only teach book learning? Have they ever considered that not everyone can pass the imperial exams and become high officials? Besides studying, shouldn't they at least teach people a trade to make a living? I never learned sculpting. It is not my fault I made the divine statue so you can't make out the features. And besides, my heart in worshipping her is completely sincere. How could it be as bad as she says, that the statue I made is 12 parts ugly out of 10? While Chihua turned around to look for the ruler, I kicked a few peanut-shaped mud balls by my feet under the bed. Amitabha. Thank goodness she didn't notice these. If she found out I'd molded her true form into this, she'd probably throw me into the river. Also, thankfully, my pastry-making skills are top-notch. The pastries I made using the boatman's small stove had Chihua beaming with joy. I propped my face up with both hands, gazing expectantly at the distant river surface. Chihua, I want to change my name. Sure, have you thought of a name? Of course, Zhao Qinian. How is that? I am keeping my surname to remind me of the life I used to live. The Qi is after you. You changed my fate. From now on, year after year, we'll never be apart. Chihua nodded gently and stuffed lots of pastries into her mouth. Thinking this way, I wouldn't notice the redness creeping up at the corners of her eyes. Chihua, when we get to Lingnan, how about we rent a little shop to sell pastries? Chihua scrunched up her face, as if instinctively wanting to tease me, but her mouth was too stuffed with pastries to speak. I handed her a cup of tea, pretending to look surprised. What, you actually think it is a great idea? Well then, I'll just have to go along with you. I ran off as soon as I finished speaking, leaving Chihua behind flailing about. Lingnan is really fine. I really can't bring myself to praise Lingnan during this season in good conscience. Never mind the outrageous number of snakes, bugs, rats, and ants. They're actually so damn huge. My God, feels like they're bigger than me. Lingnan is also always rainy and overcast. At its worst, you can go a whole month without seeing the sun. Damn it. My clothes have been hanging to dry for a month. They've gone stinky. Ugh. I threw out the stinky clothes while retching. Chihua was laughing so hard she rolled on the bed, not forgetting to grab another plate of pastries. But Lingnan is still nice. There are many things I've never eaten or seen before. The lychees that made me drool so much back then, I can now eat to my heart's content. Because of this, I've created many improved pastries. The pastry business is booming. I am already planning to gild Chua's statue with a small golden body. Nowade's Lingnan is full of outsiders, so Chua and I don't really stand out. It is not like no one has had their eyes on us, two weak women. But Chihua publicly performed a tale of an extraordinary woman lifting a cauldron, and I performed a slaying barbarian bandits with my own hands at midnight. The security within 5 li of our little courtyard is surprisingly good. What Chihua said back then really makes so much sense. Women should strengthen their bodies, arm their minds, and fear nothing, wherever they go. No one dares to come collect protection money from Chihua's. And my pastry shop. Days like this couldn't be happier. My ass. Some people just can't stand seeing others living too happily. Those men are simply bizarre. I didn't even remember their faces. Yet they had the nerve to tell the matchmakers with absolute certainty that we were mutually in love. The matchmakers coming to propose marriage were outrageously numerous. Chihua and I were annoyed beyond measure. Even after trying every trick in the book, we couldn't stop the matchmakers from coming. I slumped over the table, completely exhausted. Chihua, how about we just become sworn spinsters? It has been 2 months. I really can't take it anymore. Are you kidding? How old are you even? You think they'll let you go just because you become a sworn spinster? As long as there is profit to be made, they'll find every way possible to drag you, this piece of meat, into their bowl, and then devour you completely. I couldn't help but shudder, and smashed a small floral stool with one punch. Then let's fight them. The next moment, Chihua's palm wind struck the back of my head. Zhao Qinian, are you trying to die? That was my favorite stool. Crap, I got carried away in my anger, smashing whatever was at hand, and totally forgot about that. When Granny Li came looking for me, I was the only one in the shop. I was just about to invite her into the shop for some tea when she sat down on the ground and started wailing dramatically. Zhao Qinian, you little slut, you are seducing my son and making him stay out all night. Back then, you refused our family's proper matchmaking with 3 matchmakers and 6 betrothal gifts. Yet, you seduced my son into doing this filthy business of thieves and whores. No wonder these 2 little sluts don't want to get married. They don't want to marry into just one family. I saw the front of the shop was packed with an impenetrable crowd. I smashed the teacup in front of her. She also seemed to recall my past feat of killing bandits with my own hands, timidly backed away from me a bit, then started shouting loudly again. What? Are you going to kill me to silence me? This old woman is going all out today. I am going to tear off the masks of you 2 vixens, so you can never harm anyone again. Li Posey, speaking and doing things both require evidence. You are slandering our sister's innocence with nothing but words. We can send you to the magistrate. Li Posey glared with her triangular eyes, puffed out her chest, and walked up to me. Zhao Qinian, I am saving your face right now only because my good-for-nothing son really likes you. If you settle down from now on and obediently become my family's daughter-in-law, bringing the shop with you. Her greedy gaze swept over the shop behind me. It is not like I couldn't tolerate you. Pa, keep dreaming. Li Posey took out a small, delicate pouch from her chest. When I saw the design of the pouch clearly, I froze in place. This old hag smugly raised the pouch in her hand to show everyone. Come look, everyone. This is the thing Zhao Qinian used to seduce my son. There is even her name embroidered inside the pouch. How utterly shameless. Yet no one dared to respond to her. Instead, they all backed away. When old lady Li turned to look, I had already grabbed a stool and smashed it on her head. Blood splattering everywhere. All the neighbors shuddered. I took the pouch from old lady Li's hands, gently blew off the dust on it, and as far as the eye could see, everyone backed away. Everyone should know I lost a money pouch a few days ago. After searching for so long, it turns out old lady Li took it and slandered me for having an affair with her son. Heaven have mercy. I don't even know if her son's face is round or flat. I was about to wipe my tears with a handkerchief, but when my gaze shifted downward and I saw old lady Li's wretched state, I genuinely felt that even if I acted all delicate like a willow in the wind right now, it would be utterly pointless. So I simply cupped my fists and greeted everyone. Such a petty person is simply a menace to this street. Today, this humble woman boldly eliminated the pest, so please don't be afraid. All right, they looked even more scared now. My business won't just go down the drain like this, will it? I saw Chihua in the crowd, unable to contain her amusement, and suddenly I didn't care about any of this anymore. To win back these frightened customers, all I need is to launch a new pastry or a timely discount. But if I hadn't used Old Lady Lai to make an example, things like this would keep happening endlessly. For the sake of my and Chihua's peaceful days, please let Old Lady Lai make this sacrifice. But Chihua started acting strange. The time she spent unconscious grew longer and longer. I searched for doctors across every village within miles, but it was all in vain. She always told me with a smile that she was fine, but I could always hear her stifled coughs and labored breathing through the door. I bowed again and again before that small golden statue, but it was all in vain. Gods, doctors, miracle cures. I tried every method I could think of, but none could save Chihua, until I saw one of Chihua's hands nearly fading away. I threw myself at Chihua's bedside, crying as I asked her, was this happening because she had no vital energy? If so, then take mine. Without Chihua, there would be no me today. For Chihua, I was willing to give everything, even my life. But Chihua, as if she had expected this all along, took out that ruler with holes in it and lightly tapped my hand. Do you know why I am hitting you? At a time of life and death like this, don't go lecturing me with your big principles. Chihua gestured for me to help her sit up. This is the last time I'll teach you. I wanted to say then, I don't want to hear it. But looking into Chihua's eyes, all I could do was nod heavily while crying like a dog. In your life you'll meet many people. Some will treat you badly, some will treat you well. But no matter how good someone is to you, you must never give up yourself for them. No person, no thing, is worth sacrificing your life for. Unless you have an ideal that transcends this life. You are exactly that, Chihua smiled weakly. If I wanted to take your life, I wouldn't have appeared at your doorstep. Chinian, I've simply accumulated enough merit, and it is time to shed this mortal body and return to the heavens. Didn't you make a golden statue for me? Just keep offering 3 sticks of incense daily, and consider me still by your side. Fundy Tuft cough. If someday I descend to the mortal world to have fun, I'll come find you. It is just that one day in heaven is 1 year on earth. So don't foolishly wait for me. As long as you keep my statue with you, I'll always be able to find you. My throat felt choked up, I couldn't speak, so I could only nod heavily. Chihua left just like that, and I could only believe what she said, that she had simply accumulated enough merit and returned to the heavens. It is just that every time I offered incense, I couldn't help but let my tears fall. I really am a greedy person. I thought that whether she was a spirit or a deity, with an eternal lifespan, she would definitely accompany me for a very, very long time. But the parting came so unexpectedly. If I had known, I should have... Forget it. If I had pretended to be a fool back then and learned everything very slowly, that definitely wouldn't have been what Chihua wanted to see. I could even imagine her glaring at me with her willow brows raised in anger. Don't stop your steps for anyone. Thinking of this, I wiped away my tears and devotedly cleaned Chihua's statue. Look, I've learned very well. Everything you taught me, I remember it all. If you had assessments too, the examiner should put you at the top of the list. I hate Zhao Sani. She always came covered in bruises, crying and cursing at me. If it weren't for you, I would have divorced Li Juzi long ago. But when I actually told her, Mom, just get a divorce. I am not afraid. We can support ourselves. If life gets hard, I'll grow up with Dad. Once I can earn money, I'll come find you. We both have hands and feet. Life won't be too hard. But she backed down. She always had so many excuses. You don't understand. If we divorce, people will point fingers at you. Later, she gave birth to my younger brother, and her excuses changed again. If I don't guard this family property for your brother, your father will squander it all. If I divorce your father, what will happen to your and your brother's marriages? I gradually understood. She just wanted an outlet to vent when she was miserable. She would never divorce. But why should I bear this? It was like I carried the original sin of making her unhappy, tormenting me every single day. Finally, one time I couldn't take it anymore and had a huge fight with Zhao Sani. That day, we seemed to have said every vicious word there was. I stormed out and stood by the river. I thought, if I disappeared, would I no longer have to be her reason for staying? No need to let her face Grandma's veiled barbs anymore, always inciting Dad to beat her up. No need to let her smile at that family after being beaten, just because she is an orphan girl who came fleeing disaster, with no one to rely on. But she is clearly so capable. The tofu she makes is famous throughout the surrounding villages. She can make pastries that look good and taste delicious. She can tend to all the family's fields by herself. She always keeps the house spotless, with everything in perfect order. She is clearly so capable, yet she is still trapped by that family. Is it because of me and little brother? Then I'll just disappear with him. Yay, I should disappear together with little brother. Just as I wanted to turn back home to bring little brother out with me, a voice sounded in my ear. I can help you change Zhao Sani's fate, but doing so will scatter your soul, leaving you no chance of reincarnation. Even so, are you willing? So reincarnation is actually real. I thought it was just temples scamming people for incense money. Of course it is real. The underworld's retribution is no joke. Hey, you little girl got me all sidetracked. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself to change Zhao Sani's fate? Why wouldn't I be willing? There'll be one more happy person in this world, and 2 fewer unfortunate ones. I'll just have to let my little brother down. Don't worry about it, your little brother won't be affected by you. It is your own choice. Why should it drag him into it? I felt relieved. Thank you, old immortal. That voice let out a sigh and said nothing more. It just played out Mother's entire life before me. I witnessed the true faces and upbringing of my maternal grandparents whom I had never met. They treated Mother like a beast of burden, making her small self shoulder all the household chores alone. She clearly had an older brother and 2 older sisters. Yet she was the only one in the family who suffered. She ate the worst, because while she went to the northern hills to gather firewood, they had already divided up and finished all the good food. When Zhao Sanni came back, Grandmother would sneakily offer Mother some scraps and cold leftovers, as if presenting a treasure. They tricked Mother into believing the family was struggling to make ends meet. So Mother happily took over her 2 older sisters' heavily patched clothes. But Grandfather and the others didn't let Mother off. For Zhao Cheng's good marriage prospects, they sold all 3 daughters. Mother made the bravest rebellion of her life, secretly taking her tattered clothes and a bit of her private savings and fleeing to Lingnan. You see, she didn't even dare to steal the family silver. If it were me, I would have burned that house down. Mother knew how to make tofu, trendy pastries, and delicious side dishes. She quickly grew from a small stall into a small shop. But old Lady Li came to her door and slandered Mother, claiming she was having an affair with Li Juzi. The neighbors pointing and gossiping wore down Mother's straight spine into bean curd dregs. Mother gave in. Old Lady Li effortlessly got the shop that Mother worked so hard to build. She also brought in a scapegoat for herself, a servant that costs nothing. No one cursed Old Lady Li for being shameless. They only bullied my honest mother, saying she was improper. In fact, they were also eager to follow Old Lady Li's example, to find such a daughter-in-law for their own families. My wonderful mother, who always gently made snacks for me, who always held me and taught me lessons through little stories, was bullied by them for most of her life. They only cared about their own interests, regardless of what harm they caused my mother, and no one saw the shining soul beneath my mother's countless scars. In a world like this, there is nothing to regret about having my soul scattered. Besides, I can save my mother, that voice asked me, seeing as you are a filial child, you could go to after your mother gets married. That way you'd still have a chance to reincarnate. If I want to save someone, I should help her eliminate the dangers. How could I only appear after she has suffered through everything? Have you thought it through? I've thought it through, and so I appeared in front of my maternal grandfather's house and met my 10-year-old mother. She is really hard to teach. She even found a Taoist priest to exorcise me. Zhao Sanni is a big idiot. Never mind, she is actually very smart. When a sincere love was placed before her, she quickly understood the deception of her maternal grandfather and the others. I knew it. My temperament of wanting to set a fire before leaving couldn't have come from nowhere, but she still chose Lingnan. Oh well, if she is going, so be it. The her of now can definitely protect herself. Sure enough, she smashed Granny Lee's head until it was bleeding, and those neighbors who used to talk nonsense didn't even dare to let out a fart. What a pity. I can't accompany her anymore. Zhao Qinian's life will definitely be wonderful. She has always had an eccentric and quirky personality. But my soul didn't scatter. The city god appeared before me, stroking his beard. Your mother stumbled upon it by accident and let you receive incense offerings. Moreover, you and your mother gave out money and porridge along the way, accumulating considerable merit. Would you be willing to stay by my side and become a minor immortal? Can I? Sure, after this ordeal, this old man also feels that having only male immortals around has its drawbacks. My city god temple needs a female immortal like you to look after women's hardships. Being an immortal also requires keeping up with the times, you know. I immediately bowed my head in reverence. Actually, I didn't really not want to live that much. Besides, I still want to watch Mother's life in this lifetime.